got to get the ball to Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce, two of the most productive wide receivers in the history of the game. Last week, they each only had 3 catches. That is not enough. In a big-time game like today, you got to get the ball to your big-time guys.
Now, for Seattle, the offensive theme the past few weeks has been hold on until they can return to full health. Seneca Wallace will start at quarterback again today, and he's kept that position in good hands.
He has. Seneca's played well. This is only going to be his 3rd start, but he's been with the Seahawks for 4 years, so it's not like he's a rookie, and his play is shown. Very calm, cool, collected, and the Rams are worried about Seneca today. He's a dual-threat guy. He can make big plays with his legs, but he likes to stay in the pocket and throw the ball. He's got a very strong arm, and when they get their running game going like they did last week, Maurice Morris had a career rushing day. They can be tough to stop offensively.
Well, the Seahawks hope to get Matt Hasselbeck and Sean Alexander back next week when they travel to San Francisco. Our Rob Desir is standing by with the reigning league MVP.
That's right, man. Sean, tell us how the left crank bone in the foot is healing right now, and what's the status? When are you going to be back?
You know, this has been the best week I've had, you know, running, cutting, juking. You know, I think I'm going to start practicing Wednesday, and then we'll just, maybe Thursday, and then we'll decide on whether it's this Sunday or the game afterwards. But we're almost positive it's going to be the game afterwards for sure. But I could be able to come out there and surprise the guys and do a little something this week.
This is going to be your 6th game. You've been out, MIA. What's it like? How frustrating is it for you to be on this bench and watch Maurice Morris do all the work for you?
Well, you know, the thing is, for me, I'm always about winning or losing. And anytime that your team is not winning, you always feel frustrated. So I feel a lot better with the win this week against the Rams. Then I won't feel as bad when I come back.
All right, Sean, thanks a lot. Get well soon. Guys, back up to you in the studio.
Rob, thanks. 48 degrees at kickoff as the Seahawks have won the toss and elect to receive. Josh Scobie starts the return at the Seattle 6, up the middle of the field and brought down at the 27-yard line. So the aforementioned Seneca Wallace and the Seattle offense will go to work. Wallace 1-1 as an NFL starter. The win coming as recently as Monday, the 16-0 blanking of the miserable Raiders. So making just his 3rd career start here this afternoon.
And he's played very well. And the thing with Seneca Wallace is he gives them another dimension, a threat that can run the ball when things break down and make something out of nothing. The Rams want to make sure they keep him in the pocket.
The almost cliched light Seattle rain falling at game time. A 3-receiver set as Seattle starts the afternoon. Hand up the middle and a productive one at that by Maurice Morris. A gain of 7 on 1st down. The Seattle offensive line is a story today. Porkchop Womack returned from the knee problem versus the Raiders. That's the good news. The troubling news is that Robbie Tobeck was a late scratch because of a knee problem against the Raiders. Chris Spencer starts at center. And the Seattle backs and receivers, they really got the running game going on Monday. I hope to continue that today. But the offensive line will play, of course, a big role in that. On 2nd and 3, Wallace back to look to pass. And that one is caught for a 1st down. Darrell Jackson with the 1st down reception. The Rams defensive line, Leonard Little is a handful, 8th in the league with 7 sacks. The rest of the front, including subs, has only 3.5. The Rams linebacking core got healthier with the return of Hisa Tino Isamoa, who was gone with a variety of problems. And in the St. Louis secondaries, no picks in their last 4 games. Wallace on the ground once again to Maurice Morris, trying to get around the corner, tackled at midfield. But JC, the question offensively for Seattle today will be how they respond without Robbie Tobeck.
Well, no question. And with Chris Spencer, you've got to first secure the exchange from the center to the quarterback. And even though they may have done some of that in practice, the game tempo and game speed is completely different. The ball is wet out here in practice. They practice indoors. And with Chris Spencer, he's got to make sure that he gets the line set in blocking this blitzing Rams defense.
4 wides on 2nd and 6. They hand it back to Morris. A lot of love up the middle and another Seattle 1st down. Will Witherspoon and Jerome Carter combined to make the tackle. So for Seattle, given the changes on the line, JC, does the offensive focus change at all today?
No, not at all. And you can see from this first drive here, they want to keep it running. They got the running game going last week against the Raiders, and today they want to come out and they want to run right at the Rams. The Rams are a little undersized up front. Seattle thinks they can be a little more physical. That's why they're running the ball straight at them.
Already 22 yards on the ground for Maurice Morris, so they're off to a good start. Morris splits wide here. Wallace in the air again, and that pass is caught yards after the catch for Deion Branch. A gain of 11 and another Seahawks first down. Deion Branch has had already a good career as a Seahawk against the Rams in his one and only appearance in this uniform against the team he faces today. A couple of touchdowns, week 6 against St. Louis.
And he's come in and fit in very well with this offense. And they told him when he came, you didn't have to be the savior, just contribute, and he's done that.
Look at the big seam for Morris here. And it would seem early on that the Rams defensively aren't holding their ground very well against the run. Is there a discipline issue?
And that's been their problem. They've been getting killed against the run for the last 3 weeks, and the problem up front is they're not disciplined enough. They've got guys not maintaining their gaps. They're jumping in where they're not supposed to. They're not filling in the right holes, and every time they do that, they get gashed for a big gain, and they've got to stay disciplined and focused today.
Well, defensive coordinator Jim Haslett was not pleased with the Rams defensively last week. Here comes the blitz. Wallace dumps it off, and they make something out of what looked like nothing as Deion Branch was there for the catch. That's the most successful defensive play that the Rams have run today so far.
Yeah, they're not starting very fast, and when you allow a team to run the ball on you, especially early in the game, that puts you on your heels. And Leonard Little, after their game last week against Kansas City, when Larry Johnson ran for 183 yards, they had a team meeting. And they said, we have got to get focused, get disciplined. We can't allow that to happen. They're not starting good today.
11 red zone touchdowns in 21 trips for Seattle. Off play action. Wallace into the corner of the end zone. He had a wide open receiver, a flag on the play. Jeremy Stevens was the intended target. The ball was underthrown. This looks like it'll be pass interference called on the Rams. Brandon Schiller came back from that outside linebacker spot.
Pass interference. Number 54 defense. First down at the 1-yard line.
Well, this is going to be a tough matchup for Brandon Schiller. Whenever they're playing man-to-man and he's got to cover Jeremy Stevens, there's a mismatch, and you see Schiller right there. He just never turns his head to look for the ball. If he turns around, he's going to intercept this ball, but when you have a guy that's not used to being in man-to-man coverage, he gets a step behind. He starts to panic, and that's why he pushed Jeremy Stevens and got that pass interference call.
We had another flag down on the play, and a delay of game was called. So that's going to move it back off the goal line.
And what it was actually was too many men in the huddle. The Seahawks like to run a lot of different personnel groupings, a lot of formations. You can see Coach Holmgren very upset there, but they had one too many guy in the huddle.
So it moves the ball back to the St. Louis 6. Double tight end formation on the field now for Wallace in the Seahawk offense. Out of the eye-on play action. Wallace looking into that same corner. Wide open was Darrell Jackson, but there on good coverage for St. Louis was Pisatino Isamoah, who, as we mentioned, the return has meant so much for St. Louis. Tino Isamoah, you can see him wrapped up. He missed the last 2 weeks with a broken left hand, a dislocated left elbow, and he's out there all bandaged this afternoon.
And you can see there's not a lot on that left hand right there, not a lot of padding on that broken hand, so it's just a matter of how much pain he can tolerate, but they need him in that lineup.
Second and goal and a 3-receiver set. The draw play to Maurice Morris, and he stops short of the goal line. Third and goal now for the Seahawks. Perhaps the Rams defensively picking the right time to get stingy here on this opening drive.
And the other issue with Tino Isamoah, you can see him right there. No, actually he's right there in the middle, and he comes through and rips through and makes that tackle. But the big thing about Pisa is he gets them lined up correctly. When he has not been in the game, they've had a lot of breakdowns up front. We talked about their gap discipline, things like that. Pisa is a guy that can get them lined up and in the right spots.
Only the Colts have scored more points on their first possession than Seattle. And a flag there.
Home start, 85 offense. 5 yards. It's still third down.
And false starts have been a problem for both of these teams. St. Louis actually leads the league in false starts, and Seattle is number 3 with 17, and now they have 18. And you can't do those kinds of things, especially early here at home. You can see Heller, he's just going to start a little early. See that little wiggle right there? He gets caught for it, but you know what the snap count is on. There's no reason to try to guess and jump the snap.
Leonard Little doubling isn't official this afternoon, of course. So 3rd and goal on a 4-receiver set now for Wallace. The 10th play of the drive. Look out, here comes big Leonard Little. The ball is loose, picked up by Victor Adeyanju, and there he goes, the big defensive end, making nobody forget about Eric Dickerson, by the way. Touchdown, St. Louis.
That's the big play. They talked about coming out and having to take the ball away and even score defensively. The problem is Leonard Little, their game plan was to double team Leonard Little every pass play, and watch what happens here. They leave him with Tom Ashworth. Ashworth doesn't even turn out to block Leonard Little, and he's got a full run at Seneca Wallace and just blows him up. You see that ball comes out, and now it's a touchdown for St. Louis. But if you are not going to block anybody, you better be someone else, because you better get a hat on 91.
A 6 or rather 9-play drive that chewed up almost 6 minutes of clock for Seattle ends in a Rams touchdown.
For St. Louis, especially when you look at their wins and losses, their first 5 games, they're 4-1. Look at them, they're plus 12 in the turnover margin. The last 3 ball games, all losses, they're -5, and they come out today, the first series, and they get a turnover for a touchdown. And look at Big Victor over there, still breathing that oxygen, trying to get ready to go again. Big guy's not used to running that far.
He's got those young rookie legs. 4th rounder out of Indiana with a big play to put the Rams up a touchdown early. Josh Scobie to return the kick. He has trouble with it, drops it at the 11, misses one special teams tackler, and is run out of bounds at the 25. So after a great first drive that resulted in a Rams score, Seattle will try it again. Pay attention to Leonard Little this time, huh?
With that first series and that last play, to be in particular, is he said they wanted to double team Leonard Little on every single pass play, and if they didn't do that, he wanted to know why. Well, remember, Chris Spencer's the new center that's setting the blocking protection up front. He blew the call.
3 wides again. The Seahawks have good success running the ball in that first possession. Another wide open seam for Maurice Morris up the middle of the field, all the way down to the 45, a gain of 20.
You know, Matt, when Holmgren, he was emphatic, and he said, we've got to block Leonard Little with 2 people every time we drop back. Well, this time, nobody blocks him, which is a huge mental error by the offensive line. But you have to remember that Chris Spencer may have made the wrong call, because he didn't know he was starting at center until today.
Seattle, meanwhile, picking up right where they left off against the Raiders in their ground game. Darrell Jackson wide open for a big play, and well, we didn't expect anything short of this. JC, Rams and Seahawks, they've combined for 50 points every time they've gotten together since they've been in the same division, and here they are off to the races today.
Yeah, let's see how they're blocking Leonard Little. I guarantee you they've got some guys on him now. There's Ashworth right there, and actually they're still not doubling him. And that's something that they said that they had to do every play, and Darrell Jackson just runs that over route, runs away from Travis Fisher, but they've got to get back to doing what their game plan called for.
After a gain of 30, they go back to Maurice Morris, and this time he's stuffed on the ground. Well, the Rams defensively, as we talked about all week, have allowed more yards per play than any team in the NFL. They and the Seahawks alike have been gashed for the big play virtually all season long.
They have, and it's not just one or the other. They've given up huge chunks of yards on the ground and through the air. They've given up 21 passes of 20 or more yards, and 5 of those have gone for touchdowns. And then they can't stop the run, and when you can't stop anybody from doing anything, it's not very good.
2nd and 8. Maurice Morris already good for 60+ yards about 5 minutes into the afternoon, has a couple of more.
We talked about how bad they've been against the run the last couple weeks. 2 weeks ago, LaDainian Tomlinson ran for 183 yards on this defense, and then Larry Johnson last week ran for 172 yards. And when we talked to Leonard Little in the meeting, he said, hey, if I was the Seahawks, I'd run the ball at us every play because we haven't shown that we can stop the run yet.
3rd and 4 wides on the field down for Seattle. Wallace gets the pass off, and it's caught by DJ Hackett for a first down. A gain of 11. And Seattle's inside the red zone once again.
Well, when they go to this 3 wide receiver package, they've got an advantage. But you've got to be able to protect the quarterback first of all. You see the Rams are blitzing off the top with Fisher, but he's not able to get there in time. Then look at DJ Hackett working on Carter, who's a safety. So anytime you get a safety playing man-to-man on a wide receiver, you got to go after him.
Back to another 1st and goal situation now for Wallace in the offense. Play action this time. Dumps off the pass to the tight end, Jeremy Stevens, tackled at the 3-yard line. A gain of 8. And Seneca Wallace running the offense as though he's been under center all year long.
And outside of that one big play by Leonard Little, this defense hasn't been good again today, and they haven't been good all year. And when we look at this graphic, you can see that they're last in yards per play, like you said, Matt, but this is the big one, points allowed. That's what it's all about. They're 29th in the league in points allowed, and that's not good.
2nd and goal now. Inside the 5 is Wallace looking to pass, and it's caught. Touchdown, Darrell Jackson. Darrell Jackson has now caught a touchdown pass in 7 of 9 career games against the Rams.
Darrell Jackson's been Mr. Dependable for the Seahawks, not only making big plays, but also running those short intermediate routes. That time he just gets his body in front of the defender, and it's an easy throw for Wallace. 7
plays, 76 yards. Well, you got to believe that Seneca Wallace is thinking we were a mistake away from a 14-0 lead. Instead, we're tied at 7 early. A lot of offense here already today.
A lot of offense by Seattle. They've gone right down the field in both possessions. Turnovers have obviously been a factor for them all year. They've done well.
You got to get a new tailor, by the way.
You want to be like me.
J.R. Reed to return the kick, and it goes out of bounds inside the 5. So a penalty on the kickoff by Josh Brown.
Be placed at the 40-yard line, 1st and 10.
Hey, well, we get to talk about Mark Bulger for the first time when we get back. A 7-7 tie early in Seattle. Polaroids and Seneca Wallace on the phone, presumably with our friends at Stats Inc., to tell him that he's already been responsible for 134 yards worth of offense in 2 possessions.
And look how cool he is right there. It's like he's talking to somebody at home saying, hey, this is easy. Just give me the ball back and I'll do what I need to do.
The sounds of the 12th man as Mark Bulger and the Rams offense go to work for the first time this afternoon, tied a touchdown apiece. And Bulger starts it on the ground with Steven Jackson, who has a productive run and a gain of 5 to the 45-yard line. Well, Mark Bulger, the NFC's top-rated passer, has just been fantastic all year. Week 6 against this Seahawk defense, he just picked them apart. He combined with Torrey Holt for the 3 touchdown strikes, 360 yards in the air for Bulger.
And the only interception he's thrown all season was against the Seattle Seahawks. Lofa Tatupu got it.
Madison Hedgecock, the man bouncing around before the snap. The hand again to Steven Jackson for a first down. A gain of 8 as we take a look at the Rams offensive line. In a loud, difficult place for visitors, it'll be crucial for these guys to stay on the same page. For whatever reason, they've had all kinds of problems with false starts. Second-year tackle Alex Barron leads the league with 6 backs and receivers. So many targets for Bulger, and he's not afraid to take the check-down pass, as evidenced by Steven Jackson's 412 receiving yards to lead all NFL running backs. It's a 4-receiver set on first down. A flag on the play. The pass is complete to Kevin Curtis.
They're going to have another false start penalty.
Prior to snap, false start, 70 offense. 5 yards. It's still first down.
Unbelievable. Alex Barron on just the 3rd play from scrimmage for the Rams, guilty of his 7th false start of the year.
And his problem, as you can see, last 2 years, he's got the most false starts of anybody in the entire National Football League. And his problem is confidence, because he's a very athletic guy. He's a quick guy, got long arms. He just doesn't have the confidence right now in his abilities, and it's killing not only him, but this entire offense.
And those false start penalties make a loud home crowd even louder here in Seattle. 1st and 15 now. Bulger down to, rather checking it down to Steven Jackson again. And Jackson's out of bounds across midfield. A gain of 12 and close to another Rams first down. Seattle's defensive front, these guys largely responsible for the 9 sacks that terrorized Andrew Walter Monday night. Note the 2 ex-Rams, Wistrom and Fisher, on the corners. Seattle's linebacker, 2nd-year Pro Bowler Lofa Tatupu, as JC mentioned, the only man to pick off Mark Bulger all season long. And the secondary, Trufant and Herndon, will have their hands full again, keeping tabs on the Rams' terrific aerial attack. On 2nd and 3, the hand is to Jackson across for a first down. Boy, Scott Linehan has threatened, JC, every week of the season to establish the running game. Yet when you go back and look at the numbers, they look like the Rams of old with all the passing yards.
And that's because the last 3 weeks they've been behind in all of those games, so they've had to throw the ball a lot more. Ideally, they want to come out and establish the run, especially today on the road, try to control the clock, keep their defense off the field, because obviously their defense is not playing very well.
2 tight ends set for the Rams on play action now. Bulger with time, and again to Jackson. As Steven Jackson has caught a lot of passes out of the Rams backfield this year. As we check in for the first time with our friend and colleague Chris Rose in Los Angeles for a game break.
Hi, Matt. The team that beat Seattle in the Super Bowl off to a 2-6 start this year, but a great start today. Big Ben with a TD toss to Heath Miller and a 14-0 lead over the Saints. Back to Matt and JC.
How about the Steelers stepping up here in Week 10? Boy, off to such a tough start as defending Super Bowl champs. Stephen Davis has entered the game in the backfield with Bulger on 2nd and a yard. And another flag.
False start, 79 offense, 5 yards, still second down.
Well, this time they got the veteran Todd Stussy, and the fans absolutely eat those false starts up.
It's tough here in Seattle. The crowd gets so loud. Those offensive linemen, they can't really hear the count, so they start trying to guess, trying to jump it, and you got to just watch the ball. If anything, if you can't do that, then hold hands. You often see guys holding hands across the front in loud stadiums like this, so you don't have the false starts. You don't move until the guy next to you moves.
Tight end Joe Klopfenstein, the man in motion, and the hand is to Davis. And Davis bounces through a number of tacklers and has a Rams first down. But you mean to tell me that linemen have to hold hands for the cadence that they can't hear? We're in an outdoor stadium here.
Yeah, but this Seattle crowd is one of the loudest crowds in the entire National Football League. And once they start and they know that they can force you into some false start penalties, that's why they call them the 12th man. It can cause a lot of problems, and that's why up front you got to find a way to combat that. You can turn the noise up in practice all you want. It doesn't simulate what happens and what you hear in the game.
Stephen Davis stays in the backfield along with the fullback Madison Hedgecott. And on 1st and 10, Bulger looking for the big strike. Boy, he had Isaac Bruce splitting coverage, but the pass is incomplete.
And he had Torrey Holt wide open underneath. And we talked about the false starts and what you've got to do. Look at Orlando Pace. Look at his head. He's looking in at the ball so that he's not going to move until that ball is hiked. You can't hear the snap count. You play the ball. And now you see everybody's on the same page, and now there's no false starts.
Second and 10 after the incompletion. 3 receivers set now for the Rams. They fake the end around and dump it off to Jackson, who is met head-on by Lofa Tatupu. The 2nd-year Pro Bowler who leads Seattle with 60 tackles at the start of play, makes a big play there on second down.
Yeah, they didn't fool anybody there, in particular Lofa. And with the Lofa, after having played, now he's not a rookie anymore. He recognizes things, and you can see right away he attacks Alex Barron. Then see Steven Jackson out there and just snuffs it out and makes a tackle. He told us that was one of the biggest things from last year to this year is he sees things a lot faster, he recognizes them, and now he can just go and react and play.
So on 3rd and 13 now, a 4-receiver set. Bulger dumps the pass off to Kevin Curtis, who is tackled well shy of a Rams first down. Ken Hamlin came on from the free safety spot to apply the tackle for Seattle. And that's going to bring on Jeff Wilkins and the Rams field goal unit. (20 of 23 on the season). As time ticks away in the first quarter, this to give the Rams their second lead of the afternoon, and Wilkins is up and good. A 40-yarder puts the Rams back on top. 10-7 St. Louis.
My clothes didn't fit.
Ear infection? Double. Wasn't it double ear infection?
She bumped her head.
I couldn't sleep. I typed in anxiety.
I typed in depression.
Diabetes.
Sexual health.
WebMD has information that used to be scattered in millions of places.
All in one place.
Organized information.
Medically reviewed.
So we trust it.
I don't need millions of answers.
Just one good one.
More than 30 million people come to WebMD every month. WebMD. Better information, better health.
You're watching Fox NFL Sunday.
Hi, I'm Matt Want, manager of the new Mobile One Lube Express, and we're now open to provide your vehicle with full-service oil changes, fluid exchange for transmissions, gearboxes and coolant, and IM tests. And while you wait, relax on the couch with a free cup of coffee, a bag of popcorn, or check your email on one of our free internet stations or Wi-Fi. Even if you don't need an oil change, stop in. We'd love to show you around the new facility. Come see us today at Mobile One Lube Express, across from Fred Meyer on the old Steese.
Auto Service Company Toyota needs to move the remaining 2006 Toyota Tundras and Tacomas, and our deals can't be beat. Through December 4th, Toyota is offering super low financing on the new 06 Tacoma at 2.9% for 36 months. Or upgrade to a new 06 Tundra and Toyota will give you $2,500 customer cash or 1.9% APR for 60 months. All offers on approved credit. Visit our website, autoservicecompany.com. Auto Service Company Toyota, 3285 South Cushman. Toyota, moving forward.
Tomorrow, there's a thin line between good and evil.
If I knew something, I would tell you.
Are you that stupid? Are you that stupid?
And to stay alive,
this is never going to stop. They're going to keep coming after us.
they'll have to cross it.
Bless me, Father, for I've sinned.
Don't miss the last 3 episodes when the biggest mystery of the season will be revealed.
It's time for your end of the deal.
Prison Break, followed by an encore of House. Viewer discretion advised. Tomorrow on Fox.
Oh. Oh.
Presented by Burger King. Have it your way.
He could run for 138 yards in the next couple of weeks, and folks here would still miss Sean Alexander. Different story without the league MVP.
Seneca changing the play at the line.
2nd and 3. And the handoff to Maurice Morris met for little or no gain.
You know, this offense played well so far this game, but look what they're missing. That's a lot of money in the training room. Hasselbeck, hopefully he'll be back next week. Maybe Alexander next week. They're not really sure about Bobby Ingram and Sean Locklear, but that's a lot of production and a lot of money that's in the training room right now. And if they can just hang on, they feel like right now, if they can just hang on, win a couple games, get these guys back, they'll be ready to roll and make a push at the end of the season.
Matt Strong in the backfield. Nate Burleson, the man in motion, and the hand is to Strong, who was tackled at the 29-yard line by Victor Adeyanju, who has already had a huge game.
Here's Hasselbeck before the game working out. We saw him practice on Friday. He threw some 7-on-7, didn't do a whole lot. You can see that right knee has a brace on it, but he came out, he threw the ball early and threw the ball well. And in practice when we watched him, he threw the ball hard. He had obviously a lot of frustration and ready to go when you're not able to play. And he was throwing the ball with a lot of zip on Friday.
Just trying to hold on to get their Pro Bowlers back. Hand off to Maurice Morris. And he's cut down at the 34-yard line. Time for a game-breaking Los Angeles with Chris Rose.
Matt, the Saints chipping away in the Steel City. Drew Brees rolling out and finding Terrence Copper, who strikes gold in the end zone. New Orleans down just 7 in Pittsburgh now at this point. Back to Matt and JC.
Chris, thanks. And, you know, they talk so much about the targets in St. Louis and the running game. Drew Brees has really turned that team around. Look at what they've done this year as compared to a 3-win 2005.
Yeah, he really has. And Sean Payton's done a great job with those guys. They've got a lot of rookies out there producing well. Marcus Colston, Reggie Bush.
Out of the gun, and Wallace can't get away from Leonard Little. He does, however, slip by him on a second effort. This is exactly what Jim Haslett was worried about in regards to Seneca Wallace. They had him pinned back for a big loss, and he somehow got out of harm's way.
And they're having a problem up front again because that time Leonard Little comes free again. Here he is working against Walter Jones. He switches to the other side. They don't try to double him. Darrell Jackson just gets out of the way of everybody, and Leonard Little almost gets a sack. But here's what Seneca Wallace can do for this team. Turn something that looks like it's going to be a negative play into a positive gain, and that's the concern that the Rams have with Seneca Wallace.
3rd and 5 now, 3 wides for Wallace. He sets up and looks for the deep ball down the sideline, trying to get it to Deion Branch. O.J. Atogwe picked up coverage for the Rams, and it's incomplete.
Going back to Leonard Little, you know, they didn't double him on this last play again. And we talked to Holmgren on Friday. He said on every single play, they've got to double team Leonard Little when they drop back to throw the ball. And if they're not doing that, then he wants to know why they're not doing that. They don't have any plays in their playbook good enough not to double team him, but for some reason it's not getting done today.
Ryan Plackemeyer's punt, and a fair catch called for at the 31-yard line by Sean McDonald. 12:21 left in the half. Rams by a field goal. A couple of rivals in the NFC West that have represented the class of the division ever since the worlds realigned in 2002. Sole possession of first place on the line, among other things, here this afternoon in Seattle. Mark Bulger and the Rams start the possession at their own 31-yard line, up by 3. And Bulger looking to throw and get Torrey Holt into the mix. He does. A gain of 9 as Holt is taken out of bounds at the 40-yard line. You know, we talked about this earlier, JC. The Rams need to get the ball into the hands of their playmakers, and so far that's the first time we've had to call out to Holt and Bruce.
Yeah, they've got to make it a focus of getting those two guys involved because they're big play guys, and this Seattle defense has given up a lot of big passing plays all year long. They've given up 21 passes of 20 or more yards, and Holt and Bruce are as good as they come. You got to get them the ball, though.
Steven Jackson, the lone back on 2nd and 1. The quick slant and a first down reception. No, Bruce did not make the catch as he was covered by Kelly Herndon. So knowing that Bulger is going to make every effort to get the ball to Bruce and Holt, how does Seattle respond defensively today?
Well, defensively, they have to stay aggressive. They've got to continue to pressure Mark Bulger. They had 9 sacks last week against Andrew Walter. They've got to stay aggressive because, like Coach Holmgren said, if we don't pressure Mark Bulger, Torrey Holt is going to absolutely kill us. So the way you stop Holt and Bruce, get after the quarterback.
Defensive coordinator John Marshall very aware of that. The 2 tight ends set. The hand is to Steven Jackson, and he's stuffed for no gain. So on 3rd and 1, the Rams fail to convert. This is a team that doesn't go 3 and out very often. Only the Colts have gone 3 and out in fewer possessions than the Rams.
Well, look at the penetration that they allow by the Seahawks. Look at all the blue jerseys on the side of the Rams, and then Steven Jackson, big guy. You got to just put your head down. You got to try to get those couple of yards and not dance as soon as you get the ball, but the line up front just didn't block well.
So we see the 3-time Pro Bowler Matt Turk for the first time, and he gets off a big high punt, and it backs Nate Burleson up to his 8-yard line. Burleson is tackled at the 12. Brandon Chiller made the stop on special teams, and we have a flag on the play.
During the kick, holding. Number 40, the receiving team. Half a distance to the goal. It'll be first down.
10:59 left in the half. St. Louis by 3.
Vinsky coming back to Seattle for the first time since he left it. Got a little dinged up. Look at the smelling salts. He can't smell it. He tells the trainer to try it. Is it working? Watch him smell it again. Nothing. You know he's dinged up. He needs to go see somebody.
He's got to be hurt. Those things are powerful now, as you know.
Did you see the other guy? He's like, yeah, I can smell it. What's wrong with you?
Believe me, dude, it works. Isaiah Kaczynski, one of the big stories the last time the Rams and Seahawks met in Week 6. Kaczynski had just changed uniforms about 10 days earlier. So 1st and 10 now for Seneca Wallace as he's backed up with a 3-receiver set. They start the drive at the 6-yard line. Looking for running room is Maurice Morris, who has already had a very big afternoon. A gain of 5 for Morris to give him a total of 76 yards on the ground already.
You know, talking about Isaiah Kaczynski, he played for the Seahawks for 7 years, and they said he's enjoying it in Seattle right now. But you know, he told the Rams that the Seattle Seahawks don't really respect you. They don't think you're tough enough. They don't think you're physical, and the Rams, I think, took exception to that.
Wallace's pass is incomplete on 2nd down. Tried to get it to Darrell Jackson. It'll bring up 3rd and 5 as we check in once again with Chris Rose in Los Angeles.
Matt, I've been using my smelling salts all day long. They haven't bothered me either. Tony Romo here to Patrick Creighton. Look at him tippy-toeing in the end zone. Romo 8 of 14, $113 in that score. They're up 10-zip on the Cards. Back to Matt and JC.
Yeah, Chris, thanks. It's been an eventful day already in the NFC East. Philadelphia beat up on Washington. The Giants play tonight. They host Chicago. On 3rd and 5 now, Max Strong in the backfield with Wallace looking to throw, and a 1st down reception made by Deion Branch. Deion Branch has been Mr. 3rd down catch. All but 3 of his 21 receptions coming into the game have given Seattle a 1st down.
And watch him just jump inside of Fakir Brown. And now Seneca Wallace puts it in the only spot that Deion can catch it, and Brown can't strip the ball away from him. But a lot of times young receivers will come up the field first, and now that allows the corner to get their hands on you. You saw Deion Branch just go straight inside.
Seattle has been very good on 1st down plays today. That's something that they haven't been able to say all year. Here goes Seneca Wallace at his best, and he gets around the corner. Finally dragged out of bounds by O.J. Atagwe, and it was only O.J. Atagwe that stood in Wallace's way of a touchdown. A gain of 31 yards.
And that's the danger that Seneca Wallace gives to a defense, and they want the horse collar there. But watch when things break down. He's got that clock in his head, and my first read's not there, so I'm going to pull it down. And now he's a fast guy, and you can see at the end, Atagwe grabs the back, but he doesn't pull him down. And they're calling for the horse collar right there, but he didn't pull him down. He just grabbed it, and then he punched the ball out.
Again, one of the things that defensive coordinator Jim Haslett feared coming into this one. Here's Maurice Morris, who's dancing across for a gain of 4. Pisatino Isaboa made the stop. Here's another look at the would-be horse collar. Oh, my goodness.
You can see at the end, but he doesn't pull him down. He doesn't pull him backwards. He holds him up, and then he just punches the ball out from the back. In order for that to be a penalty, you've got to pull the guy backwards by his jersey or the shoulder pad, and Seneca Wallace didn't go backwards.
2nd and 7. They credit Morris with a gain of only 3 on that last carry. And the quick pass skips, intended for Darrell Jackson, incomplete, so it'll bring up 3rd and 7 now.
Just not a good ball. Might have gotten away from Seneca. It is wet out here It's raining, it's cold, and that ball gets a little slippery. And not only the ball, your hand gets a little slippery. So you got to make sure that you're keeping your hands dry and they're rotating those balls in and out.
Seneca Wallace told us during the week that with each start, and again making his third NFL start this afternoon, he has felt more and more comfortable with the offensive package, which Mike Holmgren in turn has felt more comfortable with loading up. Out of the gun, here's Wallace for the sideline, and the pass is caught by Darrell Jackson, who beat a tackler, and again O.J. Atogwe, the only man standing in between Seattle and another touchdown.
And a good strong throw by Seneca Wallace. When you can throw it to the wide side of the field on that out route, that shows that you've got a big-time arm. You got to make sure you block Leonard Little. There's Max Strong helping Ashworth out. Now they get him blocked. That allows Seneca Wallace time to throw the ball. This is the wrong throw. Darrell Jackson pushes up the field. That ball is thrown to the outside. Going back to Seneca Wallace being more comfortable in this offense. Holmgren goes and asks him, what are you comfortable with? What don't you like? And whatever he doesn't like, Holmgren takes out of the game plan.
Been a big day so far for Darrell Jackson. Seneca Wallace over the middle. Complete touchdown, Seattle. Jeremy Stevens. A 15-yard touchdown strike.
I tell you what, just another good read by Wallace. This offense is really rolling right now. They're getting everybody involved. Darrell Jackson, they're throwing the ball, they're running the ball with Maurice Morris, and now they get the tight end, Jeremy Stevens, involved. As long as he can catch the ball and be consistent catching it, his offense is tough.
Hey, I mean to tell you, Seattle's making it look too easy offensively today. 8 plays, 94 yards in a little over 3 minutes. Seneca Wallace to Jeremy Stevens for a 15-yard touchdown pass has put Seattle on top 14-10 with 7:39 left in the half. These are the kind of aerial theatrics we're used to, having watched these two teams play as division foes the past 4 years as Seneca goes back on the horn.
They've done a good job mixing it up and keeping this Rams defense on its heels, but let's be honest, this Rams defense hasn't played well the last 4 or 5 games, and they're not playing well again today.
J.R. Reed starts the return in the end zone. The ex-Eagle is wrapped up shy of the 20-yard line.
Hey.
Well, when you look at the yardage that Seattle has racked up in the first half of this game, you would not think that Hasselbeck and Alexander are sitting on the sidelines. Here's Bulger on play action to start the drive. And he's got an open Torrey Holt for the catch past the first down marker, tackled by Marcus Trufant. Now this is the offense we're talking about, and what great balance Seattle has struck offensively so far.
They've done very well with the quote-unquote the replacements. Seneca Wallace and Maurice Morris, those guys have been called the replacements. Well, those guys are doing very well. They're really starting to hit their stride. And the last few weeks they've all been in there playing together, and today they're rolling.
That was the Rams' first down through the air this afternoon. The quick pass to Isaac Bruce. He gets away from one tackler and is finally brought down by Lofa Tatupu. I don't know how he made Kelly Herndon miss. A gain of 5.
And that's a winning play for him, because that's just like running the ball on first down and gaining 5 yards. This is just an alert. You can see Bulger looks out at him. He's just going to take one step, throw the ball out there, and then try to let Bruce make a guy miss, which he does in Herndon, and it's a 5-yard gain, and now you're looking at 2nd and 5.
There's one for all the veterans, making the young corner miss. Steven Jackson between the tackles, tackled at the 41-yard line after a gain of 3. Darrell Tapp, the rookie end out of Virginia Tech, making the tackle for Seattle. 3rd and 2. The Rams are converting at just under 39% on 3rd down this year. Bulger with a quick pass underneath. It's caught for a first down. A flag in the backfield as Torrey Holt makes the first down reception for St. Louis. A flag in the secondary, better said.
Holding, number 31 of the defense. Penalty is declined. Result of play, the first down.
Maybe a frustration hold from Kelly Herndon, who we saw got beat a couple of plays earlier.
Yeah, but you got to watch the protection. Kelly Herndon, number 31, inside, gets caught for holding on that crosser. But remember, this Seahawk team had 9 sacks last week against the Raiders and really got after them and very aggressive. They wanted to stay aggressive today. They have to be careful in how they do it because the Rams have such good wide receivers. The offensive line has a lot of pressure on it.
Seattle blitzed in 25 of 52 Raider plays on Monday. The underneath pass is caught by Steven Jackson. Bulger and Jackson have made a habit of that kind of connection this year. A gain of 7 on a broken play.
And they come on that play. They blitz from one side, and Chuck Darby almost gets free and gets the sack, but Bulger did a good job of sliding. But they want to continue to stay aggressive. That's John Marshall, the defensive coordinator. Mike Holmgren told us that, I kind of leave those guys alone and let them call the game and the game plan, but I make suggestions to him, and he makes suggestions that, hey, we need to get after him. Said he felt like they made a tactical error when they lost to Kansas City by not getting after a quarterback that's not very mobile.
2nd and 3, and Bulger did not like what he saw. He spends a timeout. The first of the half. Next week, join us for the NFL on Fox. How about the Jets? What are they thinking? Knocking off New England today. At New England, by the way. As the Bears pay a visit next week, many of you in this viewing audience will see Seattle at San Francisco. JC and I will be there for that one. That's the NFL on Fox next week.
How about the Jets today? That upset, like you said, over New England. Man, a lot of upsets today. When you look at the league, Kansas City goes to Miami. They get beaten down there. They had been rolling and really put it on both of these teams the last few weeks. Kansas City did and really ran up. Larry Johnson ran for a lot of yards against Seattle when they played 2 weeks ago, and then against the Rams last week.
Houston beats Jacksonville on the road. Indianapolis just survives Buffalo. They start 9-0 in back-to-back seasons. That's the first time in NFL history a team has gotten off to that kind of start. And you and I have to call each other before we go with this kind of outfit.
Yeah, I got the memo. You didn't. You're just trying to look like me.
Just caught me how ridiculous we look.
That's an ugly tie, though.
A 2nd and 3 for Bulger after the timeout. Up the middle is Steven Jackson, and the timeout was well spent as Jackson has another St. Louis first down.
Steven Jackson was a guy that's turned into a versatile player. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can run it with power, and you can see he slides back there. He kind of shuffles when he gets the handoff and kind of picks and chooses his holes, but once he gets going, he's a big, strong guy and can make some people miss and run through some people. Steven Jackson's kind of turned into that all-around guy for him.
It's been a change on the offensive line for the Rams as Orlando Pace, the left tackle, is on his way into the locker room. Adam Goldberg has taken his spot. On play action, Bulger with some time. Julian Peterson's coming hard. Bulger gets out of harm's way, tucks it away, and slides safely at the 37-yard line.
You talked about the change up front. Adam Goldberg, he's going to have some trouble here with Julian Peterson. Julian just rips him and comes to the inside and gets up the field in Bulger's face. And Bulger has no choice but to pull it down and try to turn it into some positive yards. But that's going to be the issue. That's how you stop a Torrey Holt. That's how you stop an Isaac Bruce and Kevin Curtis. You got to get after the guy throwing the ball to him.
You saw the Edina, Minnesota native make a good block on that play, taking over for Pace. Kloppenstein, the man in motion. Jackson trying to get around the corner, not so. Nothing doing on 2nd and 10 as Grant Wistrom, the ex-Ram, applied the stop for Seattle.
And they're just out physicaling the Rams right now, and that's what Kazavinsky told the Rams, that the Seahawks don't respect you. They think that they can out physical you every time they play. And that time Wistrom just pushed Goldberg back into the offensive backfield and created that loss.
Grant Wistrom having a pretty big day against the old uniform so far. 4 tackles for Seattle, and this will bring up a big 3rd and 10 for the Rams.
Now they go with the shotgun to try to give Bulger some extra time.
Has a man wide open. The pass is caught by Torrey Holt. No, that's a first down catch and a gain of 18 yards.
Torrey Holt loves working against Marcus Trufant. He's had success every game they played against him, but he really likes Trufant. Trufant's not a physical guy, though. He's a guy that's going to play off. He's going to try to beat you to a spot. Not going to happen against Torrey Holt.
2-minute warning in Seattle. 2-minute warning here in the first half in Seattle with Mark Bulger and the Rams on the move. They are 9 plays into a 61-yard drive, and Mark Bulger has done most of the work in this drive as well. 5 for 5, 51 yards in the air. First and 10 for the Rams at the tip of the end zone. A double tight end set for St. Louis. Hedgecock and Jackson in the backfield. A hand is to Steven Jackson and a flag on the play. Could be another false start charge to the Rams.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 72. Offense, it's still first down.
That's Adam Goldberg, who took over for Orlando Pace. Let's check in with Rob Desir to see what's happening with the Rams left tackle.
Yeah, the Pro Bowl left tackle went into the locker room with a little over 4 minutes to go in the second quarter. They're calling it a left arm injury. Trainers are evaluating him right now. No word on if he'll come back in this game, guys.
Rob, thanks. Well, it hasn't just been Alex Barron today. 3 false starts by 3 different Rams offensive linemen. Bulger dumps it down to Madison Hedgecock, who hangs on at the 19-yard line and then is swarm tackled right there.
Watch Orlando Pace right here. This is the play that he got injured on, and watch his left arm. Gets that arm extended. And you can see right there, as Wistrom was coming around the corner, it looks like that shoulder might have gotten popped out of place and just grimaced in pain.
Seattle has been fantastic in the red zone this year.
No, they've been awful. They've given up 13 touchdowns
offensively,
in 19 possessions.
Thank you,
They've
JC.
been awful defensively.
Thank you. Opponents have scored 13 touchdowns in 19 opponents' tries. And that time the penetration came from Wistrom and Terrell. Boy, they had a big game on Monday against the Raiders.
Again, you're going to see Wistrom coming off the edge. Right there, he just comes and folds back inside, and Terrell's up there, and Wistrom's there, and Davis is there, and that's what they do. Their front 4 guys are all good pass rushers that can get to the quarterback.
Clock rolling with 40 seconds. 3rd and 14 for Bulger out of the shotgun with a 4-receiver set. He has to dump it down to Jackson, incomplete, and the Seattle defense holds. Let's check in with Chris Rose in Los Angeles.
All right, Matt, thanks. JC, your next family reunion is going to be a lot of fun. Reggie Bush, your cousin, scored his first touchdown from scrimmage, and look at the way he gets it done. Up and over. Give him some extra pretty points on that one, and the Saints have a 3-point lead in Pittsburgh. Back to Matt and JC.
Well, it's about time. That's what I told him last week when I talked to him. It's about time you get in the end zone, man.
A 42-yard field goal by Jeff Wilkins is up and through. So Wilkins gets St. Louis on the board with 27 seconds left in the half. Yeah, you know, Reggie Bush had the most number of touches in the NFL without a touchdown at the start of play.
And guess who's number 2? The guy that we have right here, Maurice Morris. The second guy in the league with more touches. Now I guess he's first because Reggie scored.
Well, Fox's football coverage doesn't end when the games are over. Afterwards, stick around for the OT, where Joe, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy bring you exclusive interviews, extended highlights, and a first look at the new BCS standings. It's the OT presented by Lowe's, coming up after football on Fox. And one of the big stories in terms of the BCS has been the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. And in fact, after playing that first ever college football game back in 1869, they probably played in their next most important game just Thursday night. Boy, what a fantastic season it has been for the undefeated Scarlet Kniggets.
And you see their 3 remaining games. There's Cincinnati, Syracuse, and then West Virginia. Rutgers playing well. Schiano out there has really got those guys going. Craig Versteeg, the offensive coordinator. How about Rice, the running back? I mean, those.
You know, suddenly everybody's from New Jersey, too. Have you noticed that? You know, it's more than just Sopranos fans now.
Bandwagon jumpers. They're everywhere.
Jeff Wilkins to kick it away to Josh Scobie. Seattle will have 27 seconds left worth of offense before halftime. Scobie trying to get around the corner and is shouldered out of bounds at the 19-yard line.
You know,
well,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, if you happen to watch anything on Thursday, chances are you channel surfed into Louisville and Rutgers came back after a big-time halftime deficit, and with some special teams help, they were able to overcome Louisville's big halftime lead to stay undefeated Thursday night.
And that's what college football is about. It's great because all the emotion. Look at the fans. Everybody just storming the field, that emotion. The players were excited. The coach was almost in tears. That's what college football is all about.
Boy, and what is going to happen in terms of the BCS with some ranked teams losing yesterday? That's coming up later. Visa halftime is coming up next. Kurt Menefee, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy will be along with scores and highlights, and the Fox Sports ticker will be rolling with the latest stats. Halftime in Seattle, 14-13. Seattle leads. Games, they have been closely played. Today's is no exception. But really, when you look at the first half, Seattle leads by only a point. It's nothing short of amazing considering how many yards they've racked up.
I mean, offensively, they've rolled that entire first half. Maurice Morris, 79 yards rushing. Seneca Wallace, a couple of touchdown passes. And the only way they've really been stopped is that one Leonard Little sack that forced the fumble and a touchdown for St. Louis. And St. Louis offensively just doesn't seem to be in a rhythm. They wanted to come out and establish the running game. Steven Jackson only 26 yards on the ground. And like I said, you take away the one touchdown by Adeyanju, and those guys only have 6 points in the entire first half. So they've got to make some corrections at halftime.
Let's check in on the field with the third member of our broadcast crew, Rob Desir.
Yeah, Matt and JC, you guys were echoing the thoughts of Coach Mike Holmgren. He says this game could come down to the final possession, so they cannot afford to turn the ball over. Meanwhile, on the Rams side, head coach Scott Linehan says we are giving up too many plays, big plays defensively. We've got to hold them and limit their yardage.
Rob, thanks. And certainly another thing that Scott Linehan will be concerned with for the rest of this afternoon is being without his veteran offensive lineman Orlando Pace, who is out for the remainder of today's and maybe longer with a torn left bicep. Certainly bad news for St. Louis. They've had their share of line problems when healthy, and this is just another thing for them to concern themselves with today.
Yeah, but Orlando Pace is a guy that you don't really replace. He's that good. You fill a guy in that spot, but you don't really replace the production of an Orlando Pace.
J.R. Reed returning the kick that opens the second half, and he is smoked as he crosses the 20-yard line. Oh, man. An angry special teams tackle by Marcus Weeks and Kelly Herndon. Your fantasy update. For the latest in fantasy stats, log on to foxsports.com. And as far as this one goes, Seneca Wallace with 136 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first half. I don't know how many people started Seneca Wallace in their fantasy leagues today, but congratulations to those of you that did.
I did. It's easy to say after the fact, huh?
12th man making some noise to start the second half. Madison Hedgecock in motion before the snap, and the hand is to Steven Jackson, who's wrapped up quickly by Leroy Hill after a gain of a couple. Julian Peterson also there on the tackle for Seattle.
Julian Peterson, he's a very athletic guy. You see him lining up on the edge right there, number 59. He's just going to come, and he's fast enough that he can run down the play from the backside. One of the most athletic linebackers in the league. 100% healthy now. He tore his Achilles when he was in San Francisco, but now he says he's 100% and back to playing like the Peterson of old.
Gain of only a yard by Jackson. And fake the draw, hanging it into the corner for Bruce, and there was really no room to complete that pass as Kelly Herndon had good coverage for the Seahawks.
And that's the thing, when you blitz and you bring guys like Seattle does, you've got to be able to play coverage on the back end.
First half stats have been dominated by the Seahawks. Rushing, passing, total yardage doubling up on the Rams in the first half today. Again, the Rams don't go 3 and out very often. Only the Colts have done it fewer times than St. Louis.
Here's the blitz again.
And it gets picked up nicely. Bulger with plenty of time. The pass is complete to Torrey Holt, and with some running after the catch, looks to have a St. Louis first down.
Like I said a minute ago, when you're going to blitz and you're going to bring those linebackers, you've got to play coverage in the back end, and that means man-to-man coverage. You can watch Tupu. He's going to come inside, and now everybody's singled up on the backside. And when you've got Torrey Holt working on a rookie, and Kelly Jennings, you better give that young man some help. And Torrey Holt would love to see that all this second half.
Torrey Holt already with more receiving yards at half here today than he had in 2 complete games against San Diego and Kansas City the last couple of weeks. Off the 2 tight end formation, Bulger hit as he releases, caught by Isaac Bruce. A first down for St. Louis on a big play, a pickup of 22 yards as Bulger was just able to release that pass before getting hit by Darryl Tapp.
And Tapp was coming around the edge, and look at Bulger just hanging there. You know that clock has to be going off in his head that I've got to get rid of this ball. And that allows just enough time for Isaac Bruce to run that over route and come free.
The first big play of the afternoon by St. Louis, defined as a run of 10 or more, or a pass of 20 or more yards. Play action to Jackson, and that one thrown over Isaac Bruce, who was covered by Kelly Herndon.
But you've got to continue to try to get the ball to Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt like we talked about in the open, because those are your big play guys, and you've got to go to them in a game like this, a must-win situation. Even though they only caught, and look at Torrey Holt, thrown to 5 times. Look at the catches, 5 catches. You've got to continue to go to him. If they're not going to stop him, if they're not going to double team him, he's going to make some big plays for you. You've got to keep going to him.
Isaac Bruce has gone over 13,000 receiving yards with today's work so far. This pass complete to Kevin Curtis, tackled just shy of a first down.
Mark Bulger is helping this offensive line out by getting rid of the ball quick, especially on the 3 and the 5-step drops. When they don't have to be in the long yardage situations, he can throw the ball quicker, get it out of there. That doesn't give the blitz time to get to him, and then their guys have to win down the field.
They do credit Curtis with the first down reception on that last play. 7th play of the drive coming up. It's covered 43 yards today. Draw play to Jackson again with a seam up the middle, tackled at the 30-yard line. A gain of 6 on the ground for Steven Jackson before Leroy Hill got to him.
And that's one of the things and one of the ways that you can get the running game going. Most people think you have to run the ball to set up the pass, but when that's not working, you can use the pass to open up the run for you. And they came out, they threw the ball, they got Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce, got those guys involved. Now that loosens up the defense. They've got to play coverage. Now you come back with the draw, and there's more room to run inside.
The 8th play of the drive. On 2nd and 4, Bulger swings it out. That one should have been picked off. Lofa Tatupu, the only Seahawk, the only player in the NFL to pick off Mark Bulger this year. And in fact, Lofa Tatupu scared more than just Rams fans on Halloween, as you can see him again reading this nicely, and that's how he told us he picked off Bulger back in week 6, reading the play.
Well, he's just so smart, and he understands the concepts, and he knows that the Rams have a lot of tendencies, and he's just in man coverage right here, and Steven Jackson runs to the flat. All he's got to do is run with him. He almost comes up with the interception.
Another big 3rd down opportunity for St. Louis. 3 receivers set, motion, another false start. Alex Barron jumped the call again.
70 offense, 5 yards, 3rd down.
Saints and Steelers are at it. Let's check in Los Angeles with Chris Rose and a game break.
All right, Matt, crazy first half in the Steel City. Deuce McAllister punching it in, his 40th career rushing touchdown. That is a franchise record, and the Saints have 24-17 halftime lead. Back to Matt and JC.
Anytime you can come back with Troy Polamalu's hair, it's just good news. 4 receivers set now. Bulger's pass is caught by Sean McDonald, who has been conspicuously quiet these past few weeks. Only 9 receptions on the year coming into the game.
But there's an example there on 3rd down where you got to try to get the first down. He had great protection, Bulger did. Nobody in his face, but yet he's going to just take the check down. And that's the kind of this conservative offensive style of Linehan now, is he encourages to take the check down, and now they've got a 4th down situation. Instead of trying to go down the field to Torrey Holt or Isaac Bruce, your big play guys, you got to give them a chance to make a play for you.
How about this? St. Louis 1 for 3 on 4th down conversion tries this year. This is 4th and 5, no gimme. Hanging it into the corner for Holt, and it's intercepted. Ken Hamlin makes the interception at the 7-yard line for Hamlin, his 3rd pick of the year.
And what happened on that play was Mark Bulger looked one way the entire time and let Hamlin get a great jump on the ball.
Well, Ken Hamlin's interception of Mark Bulger, just the 2nd pick all year thrown by the Rams QB, may have actually done the Rams a bit of a favor, as instead of taking over on downs, Seneca Wallace and the offense takes over at the 7-yard line here for their opening 2nd half possession, as Maurice Morris is stuffed. This game has taken an even more unusual turn, as they are down to 6 officials on the field. Reuben Fowler, the umpire, had to leave due to injury, and Carl Johnson has taken over for him. So even the officials are playing a bit down personnel-wise.
Yeah, you got to step up. The backups got to come in and play well, huh?
Depth on officiating we're talking about now.
They don't have a salary cap, though.
Wallace to pass on 2nd down. He swings it out to Max Strong, the fullback, tackled at the 12-yard line.
You know, we go back to that interception by Mark Bulger. Watch his eyes. He makes it easy for Ken Hamlin. He is looking at Torrey Holt all the way right there. Never looks off the safety. Ken Hamlin, all he does, watch Hamlin and watch the jump he gets based on Mark Bulger's eyes. He's already going right now. The ball is not even in the air, and he's already breaking that way and comes up with the interception.
Well, the first interception thrown by Mark Bulger in 312 attempts between Lofa Tatupu's pick and the one we just saw Ken Hamlin make. And this time the scrambling abilities of Seneca Wallace fail him as Brandon Schiller got in to make the stop. Leonard Little again made the initial penetration.
And again, no double team on Leonard Little. Right here, he's just going to run by Ashworth. Again, just uses his speed and rips up under him, and there's nobody chipping on him. And he's in Seneca Wallace's face before he even has a chance to look down the field. And that's nothing like what Mike Holmgren told us was going to happen today. So offensively, there's something wrong with the protection up front.
Rookie punter Ryan Plakemeyer is on to kick it away. Dane Looker receives the punt at the 41-yard line and runs out of bounds at midfield. So great field position for Bulger and the Rams offense. With 8 Rams, Seattle came back on a touchdown reception by Darrell Jackson and a 15-yard strike to Jeremy Stevens. All to the delight of the Pro Bowl quarterback Matt Hasselbeck, who called that one before we saw it. So great field position here for the Rams as they were turned away on a 4th down conversion attempt in their last possession. Seattle went 3 and out. So here are the Rams starting at the 50-yard line. Off play action is Bulger here across the middle of the field. Oh, he had a wide open Torrey Holt who couldn't haul it in. You know, JC, we talked about this rivalry and how it's really born a lot of offense. It's relatively recent, but it's turned into one of the best in the NFL.
It has. I mean, they've got so many great players on both teams, especially offensively, that they always seem to be get into a shootout, and we've got another one right here. But you know, you can go back throughout the history of the each game. They've all been close games and high-scoring games.
Here's a 4-receiver set for Bulger on second down as he changes the play. And out of the shotgun. Pass is caught by Isaac Bruce for a Rams first down. Now they want to get Isaac Bruce more involved in the second half here today. All of his work against Kansas City last week came before halftime.
Right, and what Bulger's seeing here is the blitz, so he's expecting man pressure, man coverage, but it's a zone, and if Kelly Herndon gets out and gets more depth, he's going to fall right under Isaac Bruce, and that time they kind of confused Mark Bulger, but he got away with it.
First and 10 from the 38. Steven Jackson with all kinds of room in the upright running style has one man to beat, knocked out of bounds by Ken Hamlin inside the 10. A 30-yard run for Steven Jackson.
And just a good call, perfect time. Watch the blitz come from the right side, and then they run the ball to their left side. You can see all the blue jerseys on the right, and now they get gashed on the left side, and there's nobody there. Alex Barron does a good job kicking out Leroy Hill, and now Steven Jackson is down the field.
Well, this is where Seattle's red zone TD defense has really been struggling this year. Bulger on the first play gets it batted away by Ken Hamlin, who's taken a very active role here since the intermission, intended for Kevin Curtis.
And they've got to stay with the run down here in the red zone. You got a big, strong running back in Steven Jackson. And when you look at them this year, they only have 4 rushing touchdowns all season long, and that's not good enough. That's why they haven't been very good in the red zone offensively. You got to continue to pound the ball with Steven Jackson. It's hard to throw it down here because there's not a lot of room for those wide receivers to work.
They bring in the short yardage personnel group now, do the Rams. Kloffenstein and Smith. Second and goal. Jackson bounces off the corner and is wrapped up at the 6-yard line. Leroy Hill and Ken Hamlin were there, and Ken Hamlin doing a little talking. Well, he's lucky he doesn't get a flag dropped on him there.
Yeah, Hamlin has to be careful there, but this play, it looked like it wasn't the right play, and it was a busted play. Look how long it takes. And now there's penetration. There's Chuck Darby. There's Wistrom in the backfield, and they just blow the play up. But look at how long it takes, and then Steven Jackson runs into Paul Smith because Wistrom's in the backfield.
So after being stuffed twice on 3rd and goal now, Bulger spinning, and he's sacked. Chuck Darby, the second-year Seahawk, comes on to make the big play for Seattle.
Chuck Darby, good job coming outside. Bryce Fisher actually jumps inside, forces Bulger to get outside. See, Chuck Darby's going to spin inside, where actually Fisher right there forces him outside to Chuck Darby. I'll tell you what, that guy right there, he's moving a lot faster than we saw him move in practice on Friday.
Jeff Wilkins from 35 yards out. And almost to the chagrin of Scott Linehan, Jeff Wilkins has been responsible for the scoring in large part for St. Louis.
Themselves and not saying anything, but when things are going well, everybody's talking and laughing. Those guys up front have been productive.
Josh Scobie takes the kick at the 9-yard line for the Seahawks and is tackled at the 26-yard line. Go, Chucky.
Watch Isaiah Kazavinsky in that first half running down, wants to make the tackle, doesn't have his head on a swivel, but now he comes back this half. He's seeing where the blockers are, makes the tackle, and that guy's fired up. You know he wants to make some plays against his former teammates.
An emotional day for the self-described hyper kid from Harvard. First down pass by Seneca Wallace complete to Jeremy Stevens. And for Seneca Wallace, he's looking for a stronger second half than he had in each of his first 2 NFL starts the past couple of weeks. There's been quite a discrepancy, though you can explain these numbers. The second half numbers down a little bit against Kansas City. He had to throw a lot because they were behind. And then Monday against the Raiders, At a 16-0 lead, and Mike Holmgren's really quieted down the offense. 2nd and 3 and a 3-receiver set here for Seneca Wallace. And a first down run completed by Maurice Morris.
What we haven't seen a lot of today is them getting Seneca Wallace out on the edge. We haven't seen any bootlegs, any rollouts, something that gives him a two-way go where he can run the ball or throw the ball if there's an open receiver downfield, and that's always in the game plan with Seneca Wallace. We'll keep an eye out and see if they get to that. They haven't yet.
Draw play and a successful one. Here's Morris for a first down, and Moore tackled at midfield. A 14-yard run by Maurice Morris, who again is picked up right where he left off Monday against Oakland.
And the Rams pick up right where they left off last few weeks also, and that's getting gashed on the run. Bryce Fisher gets pushed down inside. Will Witherspoon right there gets hung up inside. He's supposed to scrape to the outside. Watch 51. He gets hung up in the traffic. He's got to scrape outside when they pinch down inside, but he doesn't do that. Gives up a big run.
Approaching 100 yards on the ground for what would be a second consecutive week for Morris. And Wallace doesn't like what he sees and spins a Seattle timeout. Seahawks are on the move. Down 2 in the third quarter. Fox, viewer discretion is advised. Well, Seattle again on the move at midfield. They started this drive with their second worst field position of the afternoon. This is a hand to Morris once again, breaking a big one for a first down up to the St. Louis 35-yard line, a gain of 15.
Now up front, they're starting to impose their will on this smaller St. Louis Rams defense. And watch Porkchop Womack. He's going to come over and he's going to fold block. Now just kick out inside on Will Witherspoon. They've got a lot of room to run inside.
Porkchop Womack came back off the knee problem to play Monday against the Raiders.
Pass.
This is Branch looking to throw the football. Will Witherspoon says, not on my watch.
Good job by Otagwe, the free safety. Not getting his nose where it doesn't belong, minding his own business. Doesn't allow Darrell Jackson to run all the way across the field. And what they're hoping on that play is everybody's going to suck up and try to tackle Deion Branch on that reverse, and he can throw the ball.
So 2nd and 13 as what has been an increasingly more sound running game evolves for Seattle without Sean Alexander, and Maurice Morris, of course, has been the guy.
Look at the last 2 weeks. 138 last week, 110 already today, finding his groove.
Wallace on the move, and he has it batted away. There was Will Witherspoon once again right in the middle of it.
Good job by Witherspoon. They roll Seneca Wallace out, but they roll him out to the left side. So in order to throw the ball, he's got to stop and square back up and throw the ball because he's a right-handed passer. That allowed Witherspoon to keep closing, knock that ball down.
So 2 big plays that Will Witherspoon is responsible for. The first-year Ram.
Now it's a 3rd down and long. Watch Darrell Jackson. Darrell Jackson is a guy they like to throw to on 3rd down.
3 tight ends in the game. A high snap out of the gun, and Wallace loses the football. Still free. Rams recover. Randall Smith got in there and bounced on it at the Seattle 30.
Say the Rams defense, they've given up a lot of yards today. They've done a good job of keeping Seattle out of the end zone and making big plays. They scored once themselves earlier. The snap was bad, but he got it. He's just got to take care of the ball here. Got to put the ball away. And Otagwe, number 21, coming on the blitz, just knocks it out. Watch Otagwe, 21. Right hand just reaches in there and knocks that ball away from Seneca Wallace.
Well, the Seattle offense doesn't fumble often. Only Dallas and Indy had fumbled fewer than the Seattle Seahawks at the start of the afternoon. A handoff to Jackson. A gain of maybe a couple.
That's the way St. Louis wanted to play today. They knew that they had to force some turnovers defensively, get the ball to their offense, and now their offense with the lead, they can go to the run, work some time off this clock, continue to pound, try to pound Steven Jackson, and then work the play action off of that. And when you're playing from the front, you've got more plays open to you.
4 receivers for Bulger here on 2nd down. And that one caught by Isaac Bruce. Now, speaking of big play guys, let's check in with Chris Rose with a game break in Los Angeles.
Thanks, Matt. I'm not the big play guy. T.O. is. 7th touchdown grab of the season. This one 52 yards from Tony Romo. And look at this. He doesn't even celebrate. The Cowboys celebrating a 20-3 lead over Arizona. Back to Matt and JC.
Chris, I think even T.O. feels embarrassed celebrating when on the field playing the Cardinals in those horrible red britches.
Well, he's well rested, though. He gets a lot of sleep in the meetings, so he's well rested during the game. He can make those plays.
A 2 tight end set. Jackson lunging for a St. Louis 1st down. Lofa Tatupu plugged the hole for Seattle. Well, in front of a packed house here in Seattle. In fact, a Quest Field record 68,175. And they ain't here to take in the sunshine. Not a real pleasant afternoon weather-wise, but it should have been a fun football game to watch. The 1st down handoff to Jackson, dragging a tackler across the 20-yard line, and finally brought down at the 17 after a gain of 4. Steven Jackson poses so many problems for tacklers, even though, JC, and this is something we talked about a lot during the week, looks like such a target because he's upright.
And he is, but he's a big target, and he's a guy that if you don't come ready to hit him, he's going to run through you. And he's done a good job of that, just making people miss.
And the defenses seem to have taken over here in the 2nd half in Seattle. Fox NFL Sunday will return after these messages and a word from
Rams. Go Rams. We'll see you in the Super Bowl this year.
We welcome a worldwide viewing audience to Seattle and wish you at home a happy weekend. A happy Veterans Day holiday weekend.
Give a shout out to all our men and women overseas protecting us so we can be here enjoying football.
Bulger out of the gun. Oh, that one should have been picked off. Jordan Babineau had a gift looking at his 1st interception of the year as he stepped in front of Torrey Holt, but failed to hang on.
And those are the kind of plays that come back to haunt you in big games like this. When you get an opportunity to make a big play like that, you've got to make it. It was an easy catch for Babineau. Just playing center field, reads the play, and he just breaks on the ball. He takes that. That's a touchdown for Seattle. Look at that. Look, great jump on the ball. Hits him right in the chest. That's a play you got to make.
St. Louis has converted 4 of 9 3rd down opportunities. Bulger has trouble. Gets the pass away, incomplete. Kevin Curtis picked it up on a skip, though he does his best to try and sell it to the official. And once again, Jeff Wilkins will make his way onto the field.
Shotgun snaps have been tough all day. Bulger gets the ball and throws it out. This ball is going to skip on the ground. Right there, looks like it skipped on the ground right before it got to Kevin Curtis.
Well, 1st-year center Richie Incognito, who has really held up well in his 1st year at center for the injured Brett Romberg. And now it's Wilkins for the field goal and a whistle before the kick. Did we have a challenge flag come out?
A red flag was thrown. St. Louis has challenged the previous call of an incomplete pass.
Well, Scott Linehan had the red flag in his pocket. He's going to use it on that what looked like incomplete pass to Kevin Curtis.
It looked like that ball bounced before it got to Kevin Curtis. No, that's a catch.
They'll go under the hood, and we'll come back with a verdict. Well, we're back after a Scott Linehan Rams challenge.
After reviewing the play, it is a catch. The receiver gets both hands under the ball. It'll be 4th down at the 12.5 yard line.
They're still about 1.5 yards short. So now there's a decision to be made by the Rams and Linehan. As you can see the ball right here. Watch Kevin Curtis get his hands under the ball. Gets his hands under the ball. That ball never touches the turf. And that is a good catch. But the problem is they're still short of the first down. There's about 1.5 yards that they've got to go in order to get a first down. You can see him. There's the ball right there. And there's where they've got to go to get a first down. So now there's a decision. They're running their offense back on the field. The reason why they're doing that is you've got to get some 7s. You can't keep getting 3s and end up winning this game.
And in fact, it's been 3 Wilkins field goals and then a defensive touchdown on the fumble returned by Victor Adeyanju. So as unlikely as it may seem, Bulger and the offense has been shut out of the end zone so far today.
And watch the hard count here.
They get the play off on play action. Bulger throws incomplete.
Wow.
Looking for Joe Kloffenstein, the tight end, who is rarely utilized on passing plays, and the Rams failed to convert on 4th down.
Wow. There's Kelly Herndon out here. There's no other receiver. It's 4th down, and you're going to throw the ball to Joe Kloffenstein? You've got Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce, Steven Jackson's pounding the ball. Spread them out and run the ball. It's 1.5 yards, but you throw the ball to Joe Kloffenstein?
And you could hear the moaning all the way from J. Buck's restaurant in Clayton, Missouri, out here in Seattle.
And the problem there also is there was no other option. He was the only guy that was running around on that side of the field.
So Seneca Wallace and the Seattle offense take over at the 10-yard line. There's a ball that was caught and dropped. But Darrell Jackson had a first down reception in his mitts, and then Corey Chavis knocked the ball free, incomplete.
Darrell Jackson's got to make this catch. He's a big play guy for him. He just feels Corey Chavis coming. He feels him right there and takes his eyes off the ball. And alligator arms, he's going to get some heat in the meetings for that. You got to make that catch. You know you're going to get hit anyway. You got to put your body out there on the line.
The second drop pass by Darrell Jackson. Maurice Morris scrambling for a couple of yards on 2nd down. We check in LA with Chris Rose and a game break.
All right, Matt, thanks. Defense optional during this highlight. Ben Roethlisberger to Cedric Wilson to tie it at 24. Big Ben, huge day, 15 of 24, 243 yards and 3 scores. Could be a good one. We'll keep you posted. Matt, JC, back to you.
Chris, thanks. Save people maybe in the Steel City. I think everybody roots for New Orleans regardless of where they live and who they're playing.
They do. They're the sentimental favorites, and they're the most surprising team in the league this year.
And that one thrown incomplete. A flag on the play intended for Deion Branch. Maybe a late hit on Seneca Wallace.
No, they're going to get these guys down the field. It's going to be on Jeremy Stevens pushing off. Flag comes out from back here, as far back as it came from. It's something in the secondary.
Jerry Austin wants to make sure he gets it all straight.
Pass interference, number 86 of the offense, blocking downfield. Penalties decline, 4th down.
Well, I should never contend you, having been back there yourself.
Just FYI.
Right.
But there's Jeremy Stevens. He's going to come out, and you see him right there. He's supposed to just rub the defender off. Instead, he throws that forearm, which you don't do. You're never taught that, and that's just another mental error right there by Jeremy Stevens.
Ryan Plankmeyer on to punt it away. It's a short kick that takes a Ram checkup. Boy, good field position for Mark Bulger once again. Still a 2-point game. To chase Jimmy Johnson. Once again, the Rams start in back-to-back possessions in very good field position. The pitch back to Jackson. Ambling ahead for a gain of 4. Well, we talked about it at the start of the telecast, JC. The implications in this one today. Sole possession of first place is on the line between a couple of teams who have really been the class of the NFC West ever since it was born.
This is a huge game in the West. If St. Louis can win this game, they're in a tie with Seattle. But if Seattle can win this game, they go up by 2 games, really 3 because of the tiebreaker, and then they start to get their big guns back. Matt Hasselbeck, Alexander Ingram, they feel like they can go on a roll. So this is a huge game in the NFC West.
On 2nd and 7. Bulger with plenty of time. And now finally throws it out of bounds. Well, the last time these two teams locked up in week 6 of the season, the lead changed hands 3 times in the 4th quarter alone. So, you know, it's been a who has the ball last story between the Rams and Seahawks for a couple of years.
And it looks like it may be that way again today. You know, there's so much offense out here, or so many potential big players on both of these teams. You're just a play away at any point in time. And now it's St. Louis comes out. They've got their 4 wide receivers, and they've got as good a 4 wide receiver package as anybody in the league.
The 4 wides here on 3rd and 7. Here comes the rush. And there goes Mark Bulger. Chuck Darby once again. Darby's 2nd sack of the game.
Chuck Darby, the only reason why he's in there is he's playing for Tubbs. Watch him inside. He's just going to work inside on Timmerman. See right there, he beats Incognito. Actually just uses his quickness. He's a short guy. He's not real big, but he's real quick and fast.
Oh, that punt was almost blocked. Nate Burleson lets it hop. And Seattle will take over at the 11-yard line. Still a 2-point game in Seattle. It's been the case for years. The two rivals met with a lot of offensive heroics. Deion Branch had a big game. It was Bulger to Holt for 3 touchdown strikes, finally decided by a Josh Brown 54-yard field goal with 4 seconds left to win it for Seattle. Keep that golden boot all wrapped up. Wallace looks to throw, and somebody might have tipped that at the line of scrimmage as it was incomplete.
And what this is exactly what they wanted to do with Seneca Wallace, make him step up in the pocket, because he's a short quarterback. He's only 5'10", 5'11", and they knew that if he stepped up in the pocket, they could knock some balls down, and it's hard for him to see, and that's exactly what happened on that play. Jimmy Kennedy was able to get his hands up in the air and knock that ball down.
Wallace is 0 for his last 4. As you can see, the discrepancy between his first and second half numbers here again today. Maurice Morris tried for the corner, but was met at the line of scrimmage by Ty Hill and Will Witherspoon. And by the way, Ty Hill of the St. Louis Rams has taken over at that left corner spot for Travis Fisher, who left the game with a bruised right forearm. And it's almost perplexing when you think about a first year, a rookie corner. And Wallace and the Seahawks really haven't tested him much since then.
They haven't. And normally when you get a rookie out there, you go right at him. But what they've got to do with Seneca is they got to get him outside, move the pocket, give him a chance to run the ball some.
Seattle has converted in 4 of 9 third down opportunities. Wallace steps up and goes down. Leonard Little once again. A Little second sack of the game, his 9th of the year.
And I would say that Holmgren's going to be upset after this game, but he's the guy calling the plays. But the protection up front has got to be set. They even try to chip him that time with Maurice Morris, but Ashworth is not strong enough with his inside arm and lets Leonard Little just run through him. You see that salute at the end. That's Leonard Little's salute to his brother, who served in the Army, still in the Army, was over in Iraq. That's his salute to him and his father.
Dane Looker takes the punt at the 42-yard line. Leonard Little, the salute to his brother Lamont Hughes.
That's just a technique error, fundamental error by Tom Ashworth.
So great field position again for the Rams, taking over their own 43-yard line. Their second half field position has just been fantastic. Unfortunately for St. Louis, they have done precious little with it. They hand off to Steven Jackson for a gain of maybe 2-3 yards on first down.
Like you said, Matt, they have to do something with it. They haven't been able to get in the end zone. They moved the ball. They've gotten some field goals, and they went for it on fourth down. They didn't get that. They've got to do something with this field position because Seattle's one play away from taking the lead.
With the rain starting to fall a bit harder here as we wind into the fourth quarter.
A lot of confusion up front, a lot of talking up front with this offensive line.
Jackson gets away from one tackler and is still dropped for a loss on the play.
A lot of confusion up front, and they turn the guy loose, Julian Peterson, and he just comes and blows the play up. Watch him right here. He's just going to come through. Goldberg blocks out. Nobody inside.
3rd and 9, and who'd have thought, judging by the way this game started, that it would turn into a defensive struggle in the second half. With the 4 receivers set, Bulger out of the gun. He's got a receiver, Isaac Bruce, wrapped up and pushed out of bounds, shy of a first down.
And that's exactly where they wanted that ball to be thrown. They rushed 3 guys. They dropped everybody else, and they forced that ball to be thrown short so everybody can rally up to the ball and stop them short of the first down. See, there's nothing open down the field. You got to throw that ball short because the rush is coming, and now you force a punt.
Well, Matt Turk has been busier in the second half of this game than he has been in quite some time. Great punt. And Burleson makes the return at the 10. Did not call for a fair catch. And it's paid off for him up the sideline. There goes Nate Burleson! Touchdown, Seattle!
They weren't even sure if Nate Burleson was going to return punts for him today. That was a game-time decision, and what a good decision that turned out to be.
In the driving rain, Nate Burleson lights up the biggest crowd in stadium history.
And all the Rams thought he was going to fair catch that ball. It was a great punt.
I thought he was going to fair catch it. In fact, we were getting ready to slap him on the wrist for not fair catching it.
Watch Nate Burleson. Never thought about fair catching that ball, and now he just gets to the outside. Rams don't cover. Breaks contain, and now it's just a foot race. Matt Turk's got to do a better job, though. I know he's not paid to make tackles, but in there he's got to put his body. You got to get into him, man. You can't let him just run down the sideline, make him cut back into the field where the pursuit's coming from. But Nate Burleson, great job, great courage. And I don't know, that the hawk dance or something, whatever that was.
Well, and believe it or not, that isn't even Nate Burleson's longest punt return for a touchdown. He wrapped up a 91-yarder a few years ago. So the second of his career has put Seattle back on top. JC, we've seen a fumble return for a touchdown by the Rams. Seattle brings a punt back for a TD. It's nothing short of amazing to me that Mark Bulger's been kept out of the end zone. In fact, the entire Rams offense, it's just been field goals and the Adeyanju return to get on the board for the Rams.
And remember that 4th down play that the Rams went for the touchdown, which wasn't a very good play, took points off the board.
Josh Brown to kick it away. J.R. Reed, the deep man for St. Louis. They'll begin this return at the 7-yard line. And is tackled at the 30. Ready to see a glimpse of next year's biggest movie tonight on Fox. Don't miss the world premiere of The Simpsons movie trailer during an all-new episode of The Simpsons. It all starts tonight at 8, 7 Central, only on Fox. Well, the Rams had been blessed with fantastic field position here in the second half. And as we mentioned, failed to do anything with it. They'll begin this drive at the 30 with a 3-receiver set. Bulger hangs the deep ball. Intended for Isaac Bruce. Kelly Jennings, the rookie corner, had coverage for Seattle.
It was good coverage, but the pressure was even better. You're going to watch guys, they're going to come inside. Everybody's taking an inside rush, and Bryce Fisher just beats Alex Barron to the inside. Just runs right by him and gets in the face of Mark Bulger.
Bulger with 168 yards in the air. Boy, he's really tried to get the ball to Bruce a lot. He's gone his way 11 times, completing 5 of those passes. The check down pass to Steven Jackson, who gets past Kelly Herndon and has a St. Louis first down. More between the Steelers and Saints. Let's check in Los Angeles with Chris Rose.
That's right, Matt. A huge day for Steelers running back fast Willie Parker. Breaking it outside for 3 of his 128 yards. The Steelers lead the Saints 31-24. Back to Matt and JC.
Chris, thanks. The Steelers have been one of the most difficult to solve teams, difficult to figure teams all year.
A lot of high-scoring games this weekend.
Play action on first down for Bulger. Hangs another deep ball. And this one overthrown, intended for Torrey Holt, who was covered that time by Jordan Babineau and Marcus Trufant.
They try to get Trufant on a double move outside, but he's not going for it at all. And Bulger hasn't been very accurate today. You have to think that the weather's playing a factor in that. It's raining. It's been raining all game. You're going to see the double move downfield, but when you're giving that much cushion like Trufant is, you can react to that double move and stay on top. Before you run that double move, you got to run some hooks, some curls in front of them, make them think you're going to run it again, then go.
2nd and 10.
Like
that pass is caught by Torrey Holt and tackled what looked like shy of a first down at the 51-yard line. Trufant again had the coverage for Seattle. You know, Torrey Holt told us yesterday that he thinks that Marcus Trufant has the best feet in the league. Great in transitions. Now, if you look at the numbers, you'd say, wait a minute, you've had your way with Marcus Trufant over the years.
Well, but it doesn't matter who's covering you. If your quarterback has time to throw the ball, nobody's going to cover Torrey Holt. That's any corner in the league. So it all starts with getting after the quarterback first.
Third and a long yard. Bulger just gets the playoff. Batted down at the line of scrimmage and caught by Isaac Bruce. First down, St. Louis.
And I still don't understand. I don't understand. They want to be this power, smash mouth, running football team with a big tailback that can pound the ball, but you have 3rd and 1 and you're throwing the ball. It's wet, it's rainy, guys can slip. Instead of running the ball straight ahead with your big horse. The ball gets tipped, and they got lucky in this instance that the ball wasn't picked off.
Rocky Bernard got his big bear paw up there to block the pass. That pass is caught by Bruce and whistled dead. But you sense the change, though, and you know, you can feel it from where we look at this game. Bulger wanting to get the ball to his 2 playmakers now, trailing here with time ticking away in the 4th quarter.
But now they're panicking a little bit. They're abandoning their game plan, and now they're just winging the ball all over. And the reason why they have to do that is because they didn't capitalize, take advantage of the field position that they've had the entire ball game, especially the second half, and not gotten into the end zone. Only field goals, and I said earlier in the game, you've got to get 7s, not 3s.
Bulger over 200 passing yards now out of the shotgun with a tough snap. He's got to dance out of trouble. He tucks it away and runs for it. And another St. Louis first down. A gain of 9.
You know, the Rams, they've got this new philosophy on how they want to play offensively and be this running team, this power running team with a big tailback in Steven Jackson, but you can't abandon it. You got to stick to it, especially now when times are tough. You can't get one-dimensional. Start throwing the ball all over the field. They're in 4 wide receivers every down. The defense is split out. There's some natural running lanes there. There's no time to panic. Too much time left on the clock.
Sean McDonald, the man in motion, and the pass is caught by McDonald. Up to the 24-yard line, a gain of 3. We remind you to stay with us after play-by-play here in Seattle. The OT presented by Lowe's. It'll be your first look at the new BCS standings after a number of upsets in the college game yesterday. An increasingly cloudy and interesting BCS picture. Bulger checks it down to Jackson again. He picks up maybe a couple of yards before Jordan Babineau was there.
Then again, I have to keep going back to that 4th down play. After they challenge the spot or the catch by Kevin Curtis, then they go for it on 4th down. It's a terrible play call, and they lose 3 points. If they kick a field goal there and they get those 3 points, right now all they need is a field goal to take the lead and probably win this ball game because time is running down. Now they have to score a touchdown.
3rd and 3. Seattle defense has been in a nickel almost all afternoon. That one caught by Holt, and a first down for the Rams.
And here's the 4th down play that I was talking about. They huddle on the sideline, and they all talk about it like they've got this great play. Look, we're going to throw it. We got the play. Great play call. Let's line up and let's call it. It's 4th down, and they throw it to Joe Kloppenstein, of all people, and they don't fool anybody. Kelly Herndon's sitting right out there. And now everybody's disappointed, but that was a huge play because it took 3 points off the board.
The Rams offense trying to get into the end zone for the first time this afternoon with time ticking in the 4th quarter. This is Jackson breaking tackles, moving tacklers, and touchdown St. Louis. A 14-yard TD run for Steven Jackson.
Got flags all over, penalties, but the touchdown's going to stand. Everything will happen after the touchdown. You can see Steven Jackson he wants the ball. Give him the ball. He's a big, strong, powerful guy. It's raining, it's wet. He's tough to tackle anyway, and you see how many tackles he ran through there for the
Personal
touchdown.
foul, number 68. After the play is over, it's a touchdown. The penalty will go on the kickoff.
But now they've got a decision to make because they've got to go for 2 here and make it a 3-point game. Seattle's going to get great field position because they're going to attack that penalty on the kickoff.
Well, let's go back to the touchdown run. This is Steven Jackson moving bodies all over the field.
Watch how he runs. Look at the power inside. That's why you got to feed him. That's what you got him there for. And then after the play, Incognito, who's known as a hothead anyway, he gets the personal foul.
Steven Jackson's tempers have flared. He listened to Ken Hamlin do an awful lot of talking earlier, and Hamlin might have done him a favor by waking him up.
And you got to go for 2 here because if you only go for 1, it's a 2-point game. That does you no good. You got to go for 2 and make it a 3-point game.
Flag on the play. And the pass is caught by Torrey Holt for a 2-point conversion. Should it hold up?
Holding, number 68. 10 yards, leading the try.
Well, they got Richie Incognito again.
But you know what happens when you have a penalty, an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty like he had to play before? All eyes are on you. Those officials are watching you now, and everybody says you can call holding on every play. Well, they hit him again. And I've got to think that was kind of a carryover from the last play when he lost his temper, and now the referees are watching.
Yeah, and the Rams center has become very cognito in the last couple of plays.
And now you got a 2-point conversion from the 12-yard line.
Bulger throwing high, intended for Isaac Bruce. So the Rams, due in part to the penalty, failed to convert the two-point try.
I was saying that entire drive, you can't abandon the running game in Steven Jackson because he's that good. And when you've got the defense spread out in 3-4 wide receiver sets, there's natural running lanes. So now you just run the draw and then watch the power. Straight ahead, he gets hit at the 5-yard line. He keeps driving, and now he's into the end zone for a touchdown. Watch the yards after the contact. He gets hit at the 5. Just keeps driving, takes 2, 3, 4 guys, drags him right into the end zone. That's why you got to stick with a big guy like that. You can't panic and abandon him because he can give you so much offensively, especially when you've got defenses spread out like that. Now with that personal foul by Incognito, you got to think all Seattle needs is a field goal. They're going to have great field position with a lot of time left on the clock.
And you know, here we go again. 2 of the 4 lead changes in this football game have happened in the fourth quarter. Week 6, need we remind you, 3 fourth quarter lead changes between these two teams.
You got to just keep your cool in your head. Now you have your team kicking off from the 15-yard line, and you're only up by a point.
Scobie starts the return just beneath the 20-yard line. And up the middle of the field, tackled at the 49. A great return by Josh Scobie.
And the 49 of the Rams. With plenty of time, 2 minutes, 23 seconds left. They've got plenty of time, as well as 2 timeouts.
The 33-yard return by Scobie, and it's been a fun one to watch. The Holt-Bruce combination has clicked today, though not to the great reward that it had in previous meetings between St. Louis and Seattle. The St. Louis defense has been on its heels for much of the afternoon. Seneca Wallace had a big first half, though things have slowed down for Seattle offensively since the intermission. Now Maurice Morris with a gain of 5 on first down.
And a great call. I love that. You come out, you run the ball. You don't come out and try to throw the ball all over and get yourself in second and long situations, third and long situations. You come out, you run it on first down, you get positive yards. And now in 2nd and 5, your whole playbook is open to you.
The 2-minute warning in Seattle. Another Rams-Seahawks episode that might come down to Josh Brown. Boy, a couple of big plays since the halftime intermission. The big run back by Nate Burleson, the touchdown run by Steven Jackson. Defenses have really dug in here since half.
Better get Leonard Little blocked in these situations the rest of the game.
On 2nd and 5, Morris has a Seattle first down. Tackled by O.J. Atagwe. As the Seahawks get closer to Josh Brown territory, a gain of 10.
Well, they're in his field goal range now. They're going to get some extra yards, but they run away from Leonard Little. You see, great job by Walter Jones on Atagwe, and that just allows Mo Morris to get to the outside. Atagwe eventually runs him down, but it's a big gain.
Morris 138 yards rushing Monday against Oakland. 125 on the ground this afternoon.
Look at all the guys at the line of scrimmage. Now they
rolling is Wallace, and the pass is caught. DJ Hackett with the reception for Seattle.
Rolled him out, gave him a two-way option, and it looked like just a real short pass, but every yard down here is big. That was a 2-yard gain. That's 2 yards closer for Josh Brown to kick the ball.
Prior to this drive, the Seahawks had a total of 16 offensive yards in the second half. Second and 8 now. And everybody up front for the Rams.
They're going to drop out. They're just showing blitz, trying to get him to audible into something.
Wallace rolling out again. And that pass is caught. Darrell Jackson steps up with a big reception. A gain of 11, another Seattle first down.
Great adjustment by Darrell Jackson. Carter's all over him, but Carter never sees the football. Again, and we saw this earlier in the game, Carter never turns around. Darrell Jackson adjusts and makes the catch. And that was huge because now they are well within Josh Brown field goal range. But it's raining hard down there too. The rain is coming down.
You know, let me tell you something. If this one ends with another Josh Brown game-winning field goal for Seattle, they're going to take Josh Brown's picture in St. Louis and put it right next to Don Denkinger's picture as the most hated men in the state of Missouri. I mean, you know, you got some villains in St. Louis sports history. Josh Brown is turning into, you know, a number one on that list for Rams fans.
And this is big. With a minute left, you don't want to necessarily have to play for the field goal. If you can punch it in, because like I said, it's wet, it's raining, and you don't want to have to rely on that if you can get it into the end zone.
Morris and the Rams had that one snuffed out. They lose a yard on the play. And Morris is slow to get back to his feet. We remind you the OT presented by Lowe's coming up immediately following our coverage here in Seattle. Scores and highlights, the Fox Sports ticker, and the first look at the brand new BCS standings. That's the OT presented by Lowe's coming up right after the Rams and Seahawks.
And this is big because you can see Shaun Alexander right there, the NFL MVP. He's out. Now Mo Morris just went to the sideline with an injury. Now they've got to be down to Marcus Weeks or no running back at all. We kind of asked Holmgren about that. Who comes in after that? He said there really is nobody else. And now Max Strong's going to be the guy, the one-back set.
It is the fullback Max Strong with Wallace. He gets the carry, maybe gets a yard. Looking more and more like this is going to tick down to Josh Brown once again. Week 6, after a lot of points, it came down to Josh Brown with 4 seconds left, a 54-yarder, one of the longest game winners in NFL history. And Mike Holmgren breathed a sigh of relief and exhale. Close to a career long for Brown, whose career best was 58. So St. Louis spending its final timeout here with 57 seconds left.
And you know, the big difference between that field goal that we just saw today is the one that we just saw was indoors at the dome, climate controlled, no rain, no anything. But now he's got to kick the ball off of wet turf.
Third and 10.
And they've got to run the ball, keep the ball on the ground because keep the clock moving. The Rams have used their timeouts.
2 tight end set. And of course handed to Matt Strong, who keeps it in the middle of the field and gets maybe a yard or two. Enter Josh Brown.
Now they're just going to let the clock run down as long as they can before they take a timeout and then bring Josh Brown on.
You know, there are different philosophies on icing down a kicker. Some feel like you can't really ice down a veteran kicker, that the guy doesn't care, that that waiting game only works when it's a younger guy.
Well, the Rams can't ice him anyway. They've got no more timeouts, so they can't do anything. It's all, they're at the mercy of the Seahawks.
Could it be that another episode in this wild Rams Seahawks history comes down to a kicker? And Josh Brown did it just a few weeks ago for Seattle.
And just the significance of this game, the magnitude of this game within the division standings is huge, and it all comes down to this one kick by Josh Brown.
So the fourth-year kicker hoping to sell a number of Seahawks jerseys with the number 3 on it. This will be a 38-yarder for Brown. Josh Brown had his first 2 of the season blocked. Rackley snap, Plackemeyer's hold, the kick is up and good, and Josh Brown seems to have done it to St. Louis again.
Cold as ice. No panic whatsoever. Goes out, goes through his steps, natural rhythm, kick the ball right through the middle. That's when you love a kicker. And he can go out and do that time after time, especially in the big games. Look at him. Look at him. Cool as ice, no panic. He knew it the whole time.
Yes, yes, Coach Holmgren. And Scott Linehan has already, in not even a full season as an NFL head coach, seen too much of Josh Brown, who has won the Don Denkinger Award for St. Louis hatred once again this afternoon.
And with only 9 seconds left, St. Louis has no timeouts. Just squib kick that ball down the field, go down and cover it, and then they probably have 1 play left, but they need something. They need a miracle here.
The lead has changed hand 5 times today, and for the second straight game between these 2 teams, 3 late lead changes in the 4th quarter. The bouncers picked up a lateral. They're looking for some Cal Stanford, are the Rams.
Yeah, you got to get, it's too late now, but you have to get down, give your offense a chance.
And this is how time will expire here in Seattle. The Seahawks have made it 4 in a row over their division rivals. They improved to 26-4 in their last 30 at home. JC and I are back from Seattle right after this.